Hi everybody, it's RPG Grandma, and I'm doing that experience points kind of little dive because I wanted to know when people started arguing maybe over the treasure monster thing and some other things that I keep seeing about experience points. It was baffling me because I'm like, oh, you can give experience points for everything. And we determined that 2E became optional, and then by 3E it was gone. And I'm going to do 4E, but I'm going to do that out of order because it actually has like a section. The 5E Dungeon Master Guide has a paragraph, or two basically, and basically all it says is, hey, you get experience points to help you go up in level for killing, routing, or capturing monsters. Divide that amongst the player characters that participated in that. Include NPCs in that, and that's it. Doesn't talk about giving experience points for anything else. So now that makes and I'm sure I read that, and I was just like, okay, whatever, and I just continued to give experience points the way I always do. So that's one of the things that happens, by the way, if you're a new player or game master. If you find something works and somebody comes along and deletes it out of the game, you're going to keep doing it. That's the reality. It doesn't matter that somebody hit the delete button at the headquarters editing department or whatever, and somebody thought it was brilliant to get rid of something. If you find that that's something in the mechanics or in the style of play is what makes the game better, you're going to keep it. You might temporarily take it out and be like, nope, that's got to go back in. So here's a few things I've learned from doing this. And we will do 4E because it actually has a lot more info and ideas. But here's what I've learned. When a game has something, and it's had it through a couple editions, or from the very beginning to the next edition, and this edition over here, because D&D did some weird things. And you get to an edition where it goes, and as an optional rule, and that optional rule was in the beginning of the game, what they're doing is they're phasing it out. So after that, it's probably the next edition after that optional rule edition is going to be gone. Conversely, if the game's never done something before, and you open up like the Dungeon Master's Guide and it's got these new optional rules, don't be surprised the edition after that might keep those and make them standard rules. See how that goes? It's a phase in, phase out technique. But this is why I suggest reading multiple Dungeon Master Guides. And I'm sure I read this because I have 5e, and it was just this one or two paragraphs. But I probably just knowing me and just knowing how I do stuff and just knowing how I award in games, I already knew that you're supposed to award for role playing. That, hey, you should give awards for achieving other goals. That you should do all this stuff. So even though the Dungeon Master Guide didn't say to do that in 5e, when I was playing 5e and Dungeon Mastering for 5e, they were getting experience awards or some other award that would move them in the direction that you want the game to go, to keep it moving, to keep them feeling like they're making achievements. So I kept giving out experience for treasure, experience for achieving goals, experience for good role playing, epic moments, most valuable player in the moment, something. Experience in it, if it wasn't experience, and something else. And experience points for killing, capturing, and routing monsters. So that was one of the reasons I was always baffled about the arguments that I was seeing on the internet. So we've determined now we are going to look at 4E because I want to look specifically at the rules separate. But we've determined now that 2E was the beginning of the end for experience points. 3 is when they disappeared as far as getting them for treasure, which is sad. Because it creates a very specific kind of reward that, everyone's always been murder hobos and thieves to a certain degree in D&D, all right, in similar games. But if you want to really encourage just everything getting massacred, you only give experience points for monsters. That's what you do. And that is not really the best approach. And then you have experience points, economy, all this other stuff to think about. But that's what 5e says. So mystery has been solved. But this is why if you're playing a game that's been around for like forever, like Dungeons and Dragons, it's good to go back and look at those older rules, because just because somebody deleted a rule at the company's office because they thought it was a brilliant idea to get rid of it, or just to save space. Oh, we don't need this whole section on experience points. We just need a paragraph. Yeah, just one paragraph. It might not be to your benefit to just have that limited amount of information. And so that's why I'm like, yeah, read more Dungeon Master guides. Because some of those Dungeon Master guides have some gems in them. Don't be afraid of language you don't understand well, like Gygaxian. Do what everybody else did, which was look up words. And folks, if you were making game stuff, I don't think it was a bad rule that old TSR made it a thing to put words in their material that people would have to look up. They did that on purpose. It wasn't to gatekeep. It wasn't to intimidate you. It was to increase your vocabulary and make you learn things. Modern D&D, I don't think is doing that. WotC's dropping the ball here on it being an educational tool. Just saying. So I'm not hating on 5e. I'm just saying I just kept giving out the experience points the ways I always had, and that's why I was baffled about everybody going, you don't give it out for treasure. You don't give it out just for role playing well. You don't, like, yeah, you do. So if you're going to use experience points, think about how you're going to deal with them. There are other various ways to do it, and we will tackle 4E out of order. Everybody have a great day, and keep rocking your rolls and rolling those dice. And remember, the mechanics are supposed to help you create the game you want, not hinder the game you want. And that's for the players too, not just the GM to think about. So everybody have a great day. Bye.